Ladies and gentlemen of the crypto space, we're going to jump on a bit early today. There's too much to talk about and not enough time, but that's the name of the game. That's what we do, and that's why we're here. We're going to talk about as much as possible, wrap our heads around one of the most complicated changes in financials probably in the last 100 years. And this will be a hot topic today, boys and girls. Monday at 11:24 a.m., April 12th. What is DeFi? No, really, what is it? It's a four-letter acronym. That means nothing. Decentralized finance, that means nothing to most persons as well. Decentralized, centralized. People just understand not even necessarily the word finance. What they understand is dollars. The number 1, the number 10, the number 20, and the number 100, and sometimes even if a 50. You still got a $50 bill laying around somewhere. And, you know, you're always thinking about what you were taught and your experience. You get a paycheck, they give you dollars, and no one no one taught more than just counting dollars. And that's a tragedy because the system is much more complicated than just counting dollars. There's much more to it. And obviously, you guys know I've talked about macro financials, the way the system works, the banking system works, but we don't need to get into that. Most persons don't think about that. Most persons just wake up, go to work, get out of work, grab a beer with some friends, hang out, try and go to the supermarket to get some stuff to throw on the barbecue. And at the end of the week, you get a paycheck. And maybe you pay your bills with most of it. Maybe you save some of it. But savings, what are you saving? What are you saving for? What are you doing with your dollars and why are you doing it? Now, the whole point of my show is that there needs to be strategy, there needs to be methodology, and you have to do more than just work and put money in a bank account or take it out of a bank account, or dare I say, take a check to a payday lender. You have to do more than that because now more than ever, you can do more. You can do things differently. A good reason why people don't do more is because of what the legacy financial system has become. There's no way to save. You, there's no way to save for retirement at all. So my entire generation, was born in '83. My generation, we don't save for retirement. There's no savings. There's no way to save. Some of us, I myself have been in the stock market for many years and have plenty of dividend bearing positions. But even that, you can't save for retirement. If I was saving $2,000 a week, I'm probably not going to reach my retirement goals, especially considering monetary debasement. And who the heck is saving $2,000 a week? So that's why we have to do things differently. That's why we have to spend extra effort. That's why we have to listen to persons that are willing to educate on how we could do things differently. And that's where we're going to head today. We're going to talk about DeFi because that's everyone's hot topic. I've gone deep down the rabbit hole for over a year now with my streams. But I want to pull it back a little bit. I want to talk about, we talk about legacy financials all the time, but the perspective I never really hit specifically on was average Jane and Joe waking up, going to Walmart, making $8 an hour, $10 an hour, maybe 15 if you're lucky to be part of the states that ramp the minimum wage. But even at $15 an hour, if you do the calculations for monthly and yearly income, you're not going to get very far. But but now we could save, and now we could take part of our portfolio and grow it. And that's a traditional financial methodology that our parents knew, our boomer parents knew back in the 60s. And active portfolio management at the core of it starts with, I would say, not just a good part, but probably even the vast majority is isolated for growth, storage, accumulation, a bank account. What a bank account used to be. And that's really what DeFi facilitates, not 1,000% APY bullshit, not chasing the next hot asset that's up 1,000%, not a lot of things that people get roped into because of emotions and a frenzy and the excitement of making a fortune. You're not going to know what to do with the money if you make it unless you have a robust financial framework. All right. Today's episode is sponsored by Change Angel, the non-custodial swap exchange for social goods. Stop depositing on exchanges, not your keys, not your crypto, non-custodial DeFi, or nothing at all. Bam, let's pop it over to the main screen and see who's in the stream. Uraya's in the house, always a pleasure. Captain, the captain's in the house. Julian, always a pleasure. Wave, happy Monday. Question for you: where have you found to be the best place for stablecoin yield? If you want stablecoin yield, you're going to Yearn. Yearn is auto compounding. You get 30% easy on your dollars. You grab some insurance from Armor, and you're going to insure Curve and Yearn. Now, bear in mind, Bancor is a great place for. If you could get into a Bancor stablecoin position, that is an incredible place for yield. Now, bear in mind, it's APR. It's not auto compounding. You get your yield denominated in this asymmetrically appreciating asset. Obviously, today it's not asymmetrically appreciating, but bear in mind, year over year, Bancor at 685 is an incredible price. I could pull up the chart, and it's incredibly off the bottom. It's nowhere near its all-time highs in 2017. It has the potential to experience serious asymmetric appreciation. Bear in mind, this was sub $1 a year ago. So this is up hundreds upon hundreds of percent. So personally, I do have the luxury of a portion of my portfolio allocated towards stablecoin yields, but I also obviously have a position in Bancor generating BNT yield. Hey, I got my 2x bump. That's pretty cool. So this thing starts to go up pretty nice. So I got about 7 grand, 7.5 grand in claimable rewards denominated in BNT. I'm not necessarily going to compound it. I'm just going to leave it there, let it sit for a bit. Obviously, if I take it out, I have a tax obligation. It's a taxable event. So a good portion of what I'm focusing on for this year, for next year, is decreasing my tax exposure. So you accumulate the BNT there. If you could get into a stablecoin pool with dollars, it's an incredible source of revenue, and it has great volume. So 4.38% on the principal is, I mean seriously, everyone, the bank is giving you jack shit. They're taking your money, they're lending your money, they're making money with your money, and you can put dollars in here. Government regulated stablecoins, USDC probably has one of the best shots at being either directly associated with or maybe even the chosen United States central bank digital currency, CBDC. It's just between it and GUSD, those are the two stablecoins in the US that are max regulated, backed 1-to-1 with dollars in a bank account, and you can get 4.38% interest on it. And then you get the incentivized yield, which is they've extended the incentivized yield period many times, and there's 50 days left on this thing. This thing's just cranking out 40%, and obviously I'm at 2x, so I'm getting 80%, 85%, 90% on my dollars. That's crazy, boys and girls. I mean, that changes everything. Folks running around chasing BSC 1000%, figuring out how to get capital over to another chain that has 21 validators in China. They could shut down the bridges, they could halt the validators. It's an effort and work. You're going to spend that work and effort to get your money into an asset that by the time you get into it, it's already up 10x, and waste your time. You want to work less. You want to put your capital work instead of you working. There's no free money. There's no easy money. And if you're chasing free and easy money, you're taking risk. And I'd argue it's not worth the damn effort when you could get 80% on your dollars, and all you have to do is sit on your hands. And you get the best part, I would argue, if you want the risk and you want the asymmetric appreciation, you're looking for a stablecoin position on Bancor. You're going to get incredible BNT as the denomination for the yield, and you want Curve directly. So Curve directly is going to give you Curve as the denomination for the yield, and Curve, in theory, is the forex of the crypto space. So if you want dollar denominated compounding gains, you're going to opt for Yearn. And urine is going to take the curve emissions and automatically compound it, so you basically got dollars. It's an incredibly tax-friendly position because you put your value in a curve V1 vault and you don't take it out for 1 year, you're going to pay long-term capital gains tax on all that yield. 30% interest? Come on, come on. So the whole point of the intro of this stream is stop being susceptible to the FOMO of the crypto space and instead peer through the insanity and use the crypto space as the reemergence of um, sustainable financial methodology. It's what people used to do for decades, where banks weren't pathetic and they actually gave you 20% on your money, and you could actually save and grow and eventually accumulate enough money so your money pays you. And if you have $1 million in a bank account earning 20% interest, you're making 200 grand a year, sitting cushy and comfy, changes everything. So that's what I advocate. I advocate seeing the crypto space for what it is, a renaissance of actually sustainable financial products that actually work for you, instead of working for a bank where they blood suck the money right out of your veins. You mentioned Celsius, Compound. Yeah, Compound's cool. Compound's highly competitive because the big whales are ferociously trying to accumulate as much Compound as possible. They're speculating that Compound's going to have their own Compound chain and really hit cross-chain interop pretty hard. It's an interesting speculation. The problem is it's highly competitive, whereas Bancor is less competitive, and you can get some serious gains. And frankly, I think Bancor is probably the most fascinating monetary policy in the crypto space. And that's to no discredit of the cyclical effect that Curve has. Curve has some of the strongest long-term Curve holders, CRV asset holders in the crypto space, because Curve gives you a percentage of the platform fees. I mean, technically, so does 1inch. 1inch gives you a percentage of the platform fees when you stake in governance. And this is why I'm hot on like XINCH B, XINCH A, and the X token assets that facilitate auto compounding of 1inch governance derived staking yield. This one is a sustainable source of revenue. It's about 5% auto compounding. But the bank is giving you 0.02%. They're giving you nothing. So I always like to remind folks that are chasing 1,000% yield, you're chasing something that's a fantasy. It's definitely not sustainable. Two, it's a perversion when 5, 10, 15, 20% changes lives. You're focusing on easy money. You're focusing on the irrational exuberance and the FOMO that's prevalent in these markets. When if you focus on work and growing your career and saving your money at 20%, you could actually save for retirement like a normal human being. Spend some time on the weekends with family. Buy the things you want because one, you have a source of income. You work, you have a career, you're growing your career, and you can actually save your money to the point where, at some point in the future, your money works for you, where your money is making a sizable monthly income as an employee. We've talked about this topic before. So that's what DeFi is, boys and girls. DeFi is the reemergence of an actual functional set of financial products that allow you to achieve what your parents did: save, grow, and retire. It's not free money. It's not easy money. That's the perversion. I mean, look at this shit. I mean, what are you gonna throw your money into BNB because it's all this new hot shit going on? Yeah, it's hot, but you think it's gonna double from here? All right, fine. Maybe it doubles. You're up 100%. You throw $1,000 into BNB. Oh, whoopie do? You got 2,000 bucks. What the hell are you gonna do with 2,000 bucks? It's gonna change your life? No, you need sustainable. You need a methodology. 1,000 bucks isn't gonna change anyone's life. 1,000 bucks at 20% per year for the next 20 years is going to change your life. And if you're adding to it every week because you work and you have less expenditure than you do bills and you're responsible with your debt, That's a sustainable financial philosophy. And that's what I want to strongly encourage and facilitate education so persons behave better with their money. And that's really what financial advisors are supposed to do and financial planners. But clearly, it's completely absent in the legacy financial system. You don't got anyone, you call up any financial advisor and you ask them, how could you could get risk considerate, responsible 10% gains? 15, 20% gains. They're going to point you to some stupid REIT that has 50 properties, 25 of them are vacant, and that's basically what has happened. When you look at the broad equities markets, you have a lot of zombie companies that are sustained by either rent deferment or the various programs that the Fed launched, and free money, easy money, cheap money. That injection of liquidity is sustaining basically a zombie economy where companies are not producing enough revenue to cover their expenses, and the government is patching over the cracks as best as they can. It's paper thin, the patchwork. That's not to say that, well, we're not going to digress into the stability of the legacy financial system because this is an incredible set of products that we're looking at day in, day out that I show you on the stream. You don't even have to think about the legacy financial system and figure out how to navigate those types of products to generate a reasonable amount of interest. I talk about e- equities from time to time, so there's good places to allocate value, but the vast majority of my capital is in the DeFi space because I'm actually making decent, reasonable gains and returns, and there's reasonable potential with products that are being built that are made by intelligent engineers and adolescents with drive and passion and ambition to make products that'll make a difference in people's lives that have nuance and complexity and awesomeness to them. YLA is awesome. That's the coolest damn DeFi dollar derivative right now. That's YLA. You get 30% in your money, and that's it. It's just auto compounding. So the complexity there is from an insurance perspective, but that's another story, which is why I'd probably opt for like just a direct Yearn one V1 vault, and then you could get insurance on Yearn and Curve, and boom, you're done. And to top it all off, the insurance protocols in the DeFi space pay. They pay you. They pay you more than your insurance premium. 165% on your insurance premium. Don't get, I'm pretty sure Armor's over $1, and they're just giving it. I got like 3,000 already just paying my insurance premiums. I'm a little underwater on my coverage. I could hit boom, and I could update to rebalance and make sure I have proper coverage on my positions. Looks like some of my positions are calculated to have appreciated, but I don't necessarily think it's the case. I think the calculations are a little wonky at times. Anyway, let's keep it going. I don't want to miss anyone in the stream. Um, Alejo, first time catching you live. Watch your vids every day. It's my pleasure. I wish I could do more. I do have Noah's office hours nowadays, but I'm always going to keep up with these streams and try my best. Yearn over Aave, balance of the two. Now, Aave is an extremely liquid place to keep capital, particularly because you could go to 1 inch and you could get in and out of Aave positions with relative simplicity. You're going to get about 8 to 10% on USDC from Aave. So but it's more liquid compared to Yearn. Yearn is a contract interaction. I mean, obviously, Aave is a contract interaction to get you capital, but I always found that Aave is more liquid, um, AUSDC, because you could transact directly to and from any asset into an Aave pool. So if I did this, I'm literally putting my dollars in Aave or Ethereum or whatever you want. You could literally put money directly into an Aave savings account. And I talk about Aave as if it's a bank account. So Yearn is going to pay you 30% gains or whatever. There's a lot of different Yearn vaults nowadays, and the Yearn V2 vaults have been significantly upgraded. So Yearn is a major component of a portfolio if you want to grow dollars. I opt for Curve because I give into the the ideology that Curve is going to continue asymmetrically appreciating over time. So I want the CRV emissions, but you can get 20% in USDC. Obviously, it's a spot rate, but here's where it gets interesting as the page reloads. Barrick says, "What's up, Noah? Just got in the room. Where are you looking to get the best yields on stablecoins?" I mean, you're looking at Yearn and Curve. Curve is the core of stablecoin yield in the DeFi space. I mean, Yearn, you're looking at the V1 pools is what you'll want to do. And I was thinking about HUSD, but where is it? I like the GUSD pool. It's one of my favorites because GUSD is 24% interest on dollars. It doesn't have, it only has 1.6 boost, as you see right there. So that's the kicker. So, on Curve, I got max boost because I bought Curve when it was cheap. But the GUSD pool pays up to 44% if you have max boost. You need a lot of Curve to get max boost. I could show you how you do the calculation, how much Curve you actually need. If you go over to the Dow and you click the calc option at the top, let's say you want the GUSD pool. Um, I have 53,000 Curve, but let's say you have $5,000 and you're a good citizen and a good saver, and if you buy 1,000 Curve, which is about $3,000 right now, you'll have 1.43x boost. You buy 2,500, 4,000, 3,000, 3,500. So if you have a $5,000 savings account and you purchase 3,500 Curve and lock it for VE Curve, you're going to get 44% on your $5,000. So this is exactly why the Curve price has gone from 25 cents to $3, because the demand for Curve to achieve max boost is extraordinary. And to top it all off, if you go back to the home page, not the Curve homepage. Let it reload 1 second. And you go down to the bottom, Curve entitles you to a portion of platform trading fees. You're going to get 7.89% on your VE Curve position. So there's more yield. Yield upon yield. They're just giving away capital. But bear in mind, this capital right here is a sustainable source of revenue because it's coming from platform transaction fees. And the most exciting thing is what happens when the daily volume is $30 billion a day and something happens and you speculate that DeFi becomes a systemic component of a much larger financial system. $30 billion a day, and that's 10x, and all of a sudden, instead of $12,000 a year, I'm making $1.2 million a year. So you see, Curve is just holding Curve and locking it for VE Curve is a speculative bet that Curve achieves a place as a systemic component of a larger financial system. 10x, and that's 120 grand a year. Folks are overlooking and looking for overlooking this reality of the speculative yield, and they're chasing something that's throwing around 1,000% APY when you got assets like this right in front of your nose. You're chasing food groups, and I mean, there's plenty of quality products. Folks show me plenty of quality products left and right on Twitter. Um, but you got to remember, look, BNB up at what it's at right now. You gonna chase it? You don't chase assets. You chase assets, and you're not going to get anywhere. You chase assets after a 200% rip or 100% rip to the upside. It's going to go up 10%. It's going to go down 20%. You're going to get hammered. That's how you lose all your money. I know because I've played those games and I've learned better. It's a waste of time and effort. You don't chase stuff. When you want to buy something, you buy it when no one's looking. When no one's looking is when you buy stuff. Let's keep up with the stream. Your thoughts on the BNT token considering your strong description of its fundamentals. I hold BNT. Like 40, 50 grand worth of BNT. I think BNT has one of the best and most sophisticated, most interesting monetary policies of any sovereign government on this planet. They make central bank monetary policy look pathetic. Cruise, Ellipsis and Popsicle have a decent chunk of airdrops on BSC. I have no clue how to handle. Don't waste your time. I got nothing for Popsicle. Waste of time. But Ellipsis is paying out cash. You know, all right, fine. I'll show you guys. These guys are just giving away money. From if you're, but you have to have a VE curve position. I got like 170 grand worth of curve. I bought it for like 15 grand. And nowadays, you got Ellipsis run around dropping tokens to VE curve. So curve stakers, because they know that curve stakers are long-term holders. So when this loads, I'll show you. So these boys are just giving me EPS left and right. They're giving me like over 1,000 EPS a week. It's worth 17 grand right now. When it launched, the EPS was like 22 bucks. So this was a fortune when it launched. And they're throwing around 1,400%. This yield is diluting every week. You know, it's going down hundreds of percent a week. But the point is, they're throwing out like 200, 300 EPS a day. So I'm turning that into dollars. I'm getting like $2,000, $3,000 every couple of days from these boys. That's pretty cool. But bear in mind, there's nothing to chase. There's nothing to do, Cruz. There's nothing to do. And the most important learning lesson is there's nothing to chase. You had to be in position before it was hot. You had to be in curve when no one was looking at curve. And that's the point. You're seeing an asset that's on fire. You're seeing an asset that's up hundreds of percent. It's in the green when everything else is in the red. That's the opposite of the stuff you want to look at. And this is where the education and the analysis and the conversation comes in. What assets you should look at when no one else is looking. And those are the assets that could change your life. I didn't get this portfolio that I have right now because I was buying the new hot shit, the new asset that was up 100%. I didn't get this portfolio because of that. And I didn't get this portfolio because I bought at the right time, or I bought some low cap gem that no one's ever. They're kind of talking about under the radar. I bought because of my own due diligence, particular assets, and I did concentrated bets. And that's the ideology. That's what Buffett talks about. You can't spread too thin. You can't go all in. And if you want to make money, you got to place concentrated bets. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people on the stream right now know where one of my relatively decent sized concentrated bets is. And you guys know where I parked a fair amount of my capital. I got a bunch up in Curve. I got some borrowing going on the Oasis, and I'm making 25 grand a month just in Curve emissions. Boom. I don't need to chase shit. Stop chasing stuff. You're wasting your time and effort. Instead, focus on putting your money to work to make a revenue stream. Consistent, predictable income changes everything. If you got 5 grand and you can make 2 grand a year in interest, grow it. Now the goal isn't to turn the 5 grand into 50 grand. No, save your money. If you could save 500 bucks a week, every week you're making more money in interest, more money in a dividend, so to speak. And now your goal all of a sudden becomes, how the hell can I save more money? Because I want more interest. I want my money to be a better employee and work for me. Let's keep it going. Mrs. Hacker, DeFi is a money printer, brother. Yes. So it gets more complicated. I want to keep this video towards a more introductory level. But then the question becomes, where are the source of yields and where does the money come from? And I've talked about it in great detail, and it's quite a fascinating topic that I love to talk about, and we could circle back around to it again in future streams. Wave mappers, as price of curve goes up, the number of curve needed for max boost goes down. Unsure. I'm unsure. Obviously, the more principle you apply to a position, the more curve you need for max boost. Ultimately, you need a fair amount of curve for max boost, and that's why the curve has a tremendous amount of curve locked as VE curve for 4 years. The average lock time for curve is 3.6 years. So every curve that is locked as VE curve, on average, will not circulate, will not be sold, was not part of circulating supply for 3.6 years. The world will be a different place in 3.6 years. I'm max bullish on Curve. That's my, it's not even a bet. It's just a position I've had that's grown substantially. I literally bought Curve for like 15, 20 grand. And now my Curve position is worth 159,000. I didn't chase it. It wasn't like Curve was hot. It was going up. I didn't chase it. I saw and and I focused on my methodology and my ideology and I stuck to the plan. I heard PayPal bought them. No, that was a different asset that had a very similar name. Yeah, Bancor Curve. I got a sweet spot for 1 inch, and they're instantaneous, or the way they handle their decentralized protocol modifications that it's uh, cra crafted into the contracts, and it's quite interesting. And frankly, I got a sweet spot for Uniswap too. Big stuff. And they all fit into a big puzzle piece. And the whole question you got to ask yourself is you can't own them all. So, how much of each do you own? And at what position size? You know, that's not easy. Captain Weber, nobody has been looking at Atom. My man, and guess what? I got the same Atom position that you got, that we got together all that time ago. Atom, I think I bought, oh my goodness. What do we buy that for? Like $2.80? So I bought like that was at $21.54. That was a quick $80,000 profit. But bear in mind, it's not realized gains. I'm not selling it. Atom is a yield-bearing inflationary asset, and potentially the foundation for the East's blockchain, the centralized blockchain infrastructure. And when I say the East, I mean China. And I've talked to great length about the role that Cosmos has in the Chinese national blockchain initiative, particularly shown by the BSN. And we've been talking about this since last year. So nobody's looking at Atom, Captain Weber. And nobody looking at Atom. You go on Twitter today, they're looking at Binance Smart Chain. Meanwhile, what is the BSN? Ask anyone that's hot on Binance Smart Chain what the BSN is and what they've done and what they've built and what the Chinese are doing with the digital yuan. And, you know, they won't know. It's not on the radar at all. That's the bottom line. James says, hope you're doing well, boss. My man, I'm in my early 20s. I've gotten very lucky in crypto over the last 10 months. Good. Take risk off and protect your gains. Thankfully, I found your channel and it helped me understand how important de-risking is. Yes, you take strategic risks, calculated risks, and you want the vast majority of your portfolio. You want your portfolio working. If your portfolio is not generating revenue, that's where you're missing out. Even if you're taking a risk and you want to own Ethereum, I own a bunch of Ethereum. It's making money. You got to put it to work. You go to pools, you go to your dashboard, and you can see your curve positions. So if this loads up, I'll show you guys. All right, so point is I got Ethereum and then the SF pool cranking out like 30% interest. Everything you have should be earning interest. And if it's not, you're missing an opportunity and you need to think more creatively, structurally, and opportunistically. Alejo, thinking of the source of dollars that move on DeFi too. I didn't click completely yet for me, but hearing what you always say, it looks like the future of finance, and it's diapers at the moment. Yes, it is. What you're seeing. Let me just see James's question. I'm going to end on your question. Begin taking profit and stockpiling about 50 grand USD. Want to put into something like Yearn to gain interest while maintaining stability in my portfolio. Yeah, so now you're going to enter the art of portfolio crafting. You know, like 30 grand into a urine position, earning 30%, or then I was in urine. I was in YLA. YLA is a derivative of urine vaults, basically generating revenue from curve monetary policy. And ultimately, I ended up going for curve directly because I had a large CRV position locked as VE-CRV because I wanted the CRV emissions directly instead of being auto compounded because I expect CRV to significantly appreciate over the coming years. So there's a lot of complexity to be risk off. But the first thing I always recommend to people that are not prepared for strategy and the more sophisticated ideology, go risk off. Move it to USDC and Aave, and you get an 8 to 10% in your money. And then you can think about being crafty and strategic and how to get, instead of 10%, you get 20%, 30%. Do you want your yield compounded? Do you want it denominated in curve? Maybe you want some exposure to 1inch. Maybe you want exposure to Ethereum and you want to earn 30% on your Ethereum. Maybe you want Bitcoin. If you have Bitcoin and Bitcoin's doing nothing, you get 5% of your money on curve, but you could take your Bitcoin and throw it in MakerDAO and borrow up to about 30% against it. I borrow against my Bitcoin. Otherwise, the Bitcoin's just sitting there doing nothing. So I'm borrowing 158 grand, which I throw into Curve that's making some cash on a daily basis. And that's how you do it. And it's a process. And there's no perfect way to do it. It's a learning experience, and everyone's experience is going to be different. And it's going to be an expression of your view of the market, your opinions, your hopes, your dreams, your goals, your desires, and your risk tolerance. So we'll end on Alejo's point. Where's the dollars come from? So what has occurred in DeFi is not just the reemergence of traditional financial methodology where people could actually save their money, save your money, and grow it for actual retirement. What you have is the creation of monetary policy systems outside the realm of sovereign nations. Historically, sovereign nations, and when I say sovereign, I mean it's a country. Countries made fiat. Countries made money. But what's happening in the crypto space, in the DeFi space, is money creation. And what is money? Well, the US dollar no longer is money because it doesn't have a capacity to save value. And then that's my argument. That's what I would say. It doesn't retain any value. And frankly, it's debased at a rate of about 15% yearly. So the point being, what are the fundamental properties of money? Monetary velocity, the capacity to lend and borrow, having an inflationary component and a deflationary component. That's what we talk about when we talk about the legacy financial system. Is there inflation? Is there deflation? Are they debasing the money? How much are they printing this week? So when we're talking about the product, these assets in the crypto space, we're talking about the same thing. Is there a decaying inflationary curve? Are there deflationary pressures? Is there locking and supply disruption, which are deflationary components? You're talking about monetary policy. You're talking about Aave that has the capacity to lend and to borrow. And the best part is it's over collateralized lending, and that's another topic of conversation. But what you have here is money. And associated with the lending and borrowing is value creation. And that's exactly why one of the critical parameters or analytical measurements of legacy financial system is monetary velocity, which has been imploding because they've been destroying the denominator. The denominator is M1. It's basically going vertical. So monetary velocity has been going straight down. Monetary velocity is simply thought of as the flow of money. How much money is flowing? The health of an economy is the flow of money. Clearly, borrowing and lending, but also merely transactions. If you got money just sitting in a bank account doing nothing, it's contributing nothing, nothing meaningful to the monetary system. Money has to move. Movement is velocity. The velocity, I would argue, anecdotally in the DeFi space is just vertical compared to where it was a year ago. The movement of money is through the roof, and the movement of money attracts value. The system that has been built in DeFi, the systems, was going to attract an enormous amount of value from the legacy financial system because of the velocity, which it just exudes opportunity, which is absent in legacy financials. Yeah, damn 30% on ETH on Curve. You get about 30% on your Ethereum, denominated in CRV, of course. And obviously that requires a fair amount of CRV locked as VECRV, but that's the whole point. And it's monetary policy. They have a certain amount of supply. They allocate a certain amount of supply to a particular pool. So when folks say, "Oh, it's not sustainable," of course it's not sustainable. It's going to dilute. These numbers are microscopic. You got quadrillions of dollars out there, and we're talking about a couple of billion. These numbers are absolutely not even on the radar in legacy financial terms, boys and girls. It's microscopic. James says, I'd really like to get on a call during Noah's office hours. Ladies and gentlemen, Noah's office hours is open as much as I possibly can. If you like, you subscribe and through the platform, and it emails when I click that I'm available. I'm not always available. The second I get off this call, I got work to do, and one day I would hope to be able to just do something more meaningful with my life, like provide office hours and YouTube stream and be on Twitter and actually help people rather than doing work, which is, I guess, I don't know, not the most fulfilling at this point in time. Yeah, Rook, yeah, I remember you saying you got them strong hands, Captain Weber. Well, it's a beautiful asset. You guys know what I think of Rook, and it's a bit of a conundrum the way it fits into my own personal philosophy with portfolio management. So I love the asset. I don't have any at the moment. I got no FOMO. I hope it treats everyone well. And believe me, if there was a monetary policy component that introduced a significant deflationary pressure, and that deflationary pressure doesn't mean monetary destruction. That means incentivized supply disruption, or other disruptive components with regard to circulating supply. It would pique my interest, more consistent with my philosophy. And that's what I look for. I look for inflation balanced with deflationary pressures, and I understand the monetary policies of these various assets. And those are the assets I choose. I choose those assets irrespective of price action. Doesn't matter if it's the hottest shit on the block or not. I choose it because it fits a theme. It fits properties that I'm looking for regarding, particularly overall, as a monetary velocity that I think will highlight the assets that have the best longevity, the best growth and potential for success in the future. White Wolf is asking how you get VE curves. You go. I'm going to end on this. You go over to curve. You go to the Dow. And you go right here. Nope, that's why it didn't work. I'm on BSC. Go over to the Dow. I'll reload 1 second. Right here, voting power in Dow. So this is where you have your CRV, and this is where you lock it. You could also go up to the top and you go to the locker. Ooh, it's mysterious. And you could lock your curve. Oop, super zoom effect. You could lock your curve for VECRV. And that's how you do it. Pretty simple. Alejo, you have a good one. Everyone, 12:07 p.m. Monday, April 12th. I think we've covered a decent intro, and I'm happy to do another intro. If anyone has any questions, ask them on Twitter, and I'm happy to re-entertain things from just getting acclimated to the DeFi space. And I hope more and more people realize that this isn't about free money. This isn't about easy money. This is about actually being able to have a reasonable lifestyle, and be decent financially, and not have to FOMO the next hot stock or FOMO the next hot crypto, but you could actually live a reasonable life where you could save your money and let it grow for retirement. And if you're lucky, you can let it grow to the point where your money makes a salary, and then you can stop trading time for money. So anyway, I wish you all a wonderful day. Don't forget to tell everyone to subscribe. 41 people on the stream, 17 likes. We can do better. I'll catch you all tomorrow. Peace.